Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee are now calling on Attorney General Loretta Lynch to investigate Donald Trump's contributions to Florida's Attorney General Pam Bondi. They say it may have influenced Bondi's decision not to pursue a complaint against Trump University. Bondi, a Republican, endorsed Donald Trump back in March. Both Bondi and Trump have maintained there was no connection between the donation and the eventual decision not to pursue an investigation. CBS News Justice reporter Paula Reed is here in New York with us. A rare treat. Good to see you.
Likewise.
All right, so take us back to 2013. What happened and why the renewed interest?
So back in 2013, Attorney General Pam Bondi was deciding whether or not to get involved with an investigation into Trump University. Around that time, an organization supporting her also received a donation of about $25,000. Ultimately, she decided not to join that investigation into Trump University. So the Democrats are calling foul, saying this pattern looks to them like bribery, and they're asking Attorney General Loretta Lynch to investigate.
So Bondi's office has said that this issue did not rise to her level, but that it was made by lower level staff. Why are some critics saying that this could be a conflict of interest?
They're saying that if she got this money during a time she was contemplating whether or not to join this investigation, they say the appearance of impropriety is enough for the Department of Justice to investigate. But of course, here we are 3 years later, they're calling for this investigation. And just recently, the Supreme Court made it a lot harder to prove this kind of quid pro quo. So even if they did decide to open an investigation, it would be very difficult to prove this kind of conduct.
All right, you asked the Attorney General about this investigation and if she would open one. Let's take a listen.
The Sun-Sentinel editorial board is calling for you to investigate Donald Trump's contribution to a political committee backing Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi around the time that she was considering whether or not to join a class action lawsuit against Trump University. Will the Department of Justice look into this contribution to Attorney General Pam Bondi?
You know, I don't have any comment on that or any other pending matters or anything that someone has raised in the press.
Let me ask you a follow-up, though. Going forward, hasn't the Hillary Clinton email investigation set a difficult precedent for the Department of Justice in that you didn't bring charges there, but there was a press conference and then you released a lot of your evidence? So in a case like this, don't you think that now there'll be calls for you to justify why you either don't bring charges or in a case like this, don't bring an investigation in high-profile political cases?
Well, I don't have a comment on what's been raised in the press on any of these matters. What I will say is that we look at any matter brought to our attention in the exact same way, and we look to see whether or not there's any substance to it and whether or not it deserves any action by the department. But as to the matter you've raised from the press issue, I don't have a comment on that.
It's not necessarily just a press issue, but this is sort of what I'm getting at is now every time there's a call for an investigation related to a political figure, there is this new precedent, this total sort of diversion from your usual standard operating procedure to come out and explain yourselves, which you didn't do prior when you didn't bring charges against someone. And now it seems like because of there has been so much justification in the Hillary case, now there are going to be calls to do it in every high-profile political controversy.
Well, I can't predict what people are going to call or not call for, and we'll review every request individually and respond to it as appropriate. Certainly, I think in the matter under discussion, we did provide more information because the matter was closed. It was a matter of great national importance, and we are always trying to find ways to provide as much transparency as possible. And even though we're not able to go into the substance of matters or the substance of investigations, we will often try and find ways to describe to people how we do our work. And I think people have seen that throughout the course of this administration. Let's talk about a variety of cases. You know, we often say we can't go into the substance of something, but we can tell you that we're doing interviews or we're doing various things that people may need to be aware of. And so we're always trying to strike that balance.
All right, Paula. So, I mean, does the Attorney General and the Department of Justice really have to address this very issue that you're talking about, which is that there are these precedents that have been set in these very high-profile cases? She sort of declined to answer there, but you kept sort of hammering her because it's something I think a lot of people are going to be asking going forward.
How they handled the Hillary Clinton email investigation, to come out and give a press conference, then to release your work product, pieces of your investigation to the public, completely unprecedented in a case where they did not bring charges. And even though Hillary Clinton was not charged, just releasing those reports gave her adversaries a lot of fodder. So going forward, as I noted to the Attorney General, every high-profile political case, there's going to be calls to follow this new precedent and say, hey, we didn't get charges, but we want to see your investigation just like you did in that case. So I do think that they've created a lot of problems for themselves in the way they've handled the situation. She said they did it in the interest of transparency, but again, by giving people more and more insight into why you came to that decision, you just give them more fuel to second guess you.
All right, I want to ask you about one last thing that just sort of is breaking as we speak right now, which is, so Donald Trump he's not been shy about saying that he's used money and influence to curry political favor. Right now, we understand that the New York Attorney General, Eric Schneiderman, has opened up an investigation into the Trump Foundation. What are you hearing?
They confirmed that the sources confirmed that they are looking into the Trump Foundation. There are some numbers there that trouble them. But again, that's a state level investigation. There've been several calls now for the feds to investigate as well. But at this point, the Department of Justice, the feds are not looking into bribery claims. But at the state level, he's certainly got problems where you have state attorney generals investigating problems through their foundation.
All right, we'll have to see where it all goes. Thank you, Paula Reed. Appreciate it.